All right, everybody. So this is another sculpture that I am carving with the bandsaw. It's another vase. It's made out of, once again, some silver poplar. Now, this silver poplar, you can tell from the staining and different things like that, it has heart rot, but it's not spalted as one of the other ones that I made was. And I am freehand cutting this. I don't even think I started with any drawings on this one. That's not uncommon for me. My preference is to just let it kind of work into whatever it is. So when I start these, I often don't know what I'm going to be making with them. You can tell here I'm freehanding these and cutting these curves into the edges. Now, keep in mind, I never am promoting the practices that I use on the bandsaw or the, belt sander. But I often do that kind of stuff. It just gives me some dynamic shape to the piece that I'm working on. And as you can see, I got done with that. Now I'm over on the belt sander. This is just a small Ryobi belt sander, but it works really well for what I do with it. I am not so one thing I guess I should explain to a lot of people is I'm not always trying to get things flat. I'm just trying to get them smooth, if that makes sense. So sometimes that equals flat, but just because you're using the belt sander doesn't always mean that you're getting things absolutely flat. Now here, this is the base of this sculpture, this vase, and I am trying to get it flat. You can see I have a corner hanging off there, and it ends up creating this little tab that hangs down. And I have to sand that off, and that way I can tell when it's flat and it sits on the table right and whatnot. So I usually try to have something like a piece of steel or a fresh piece of 3/4 inch plywood sitting around, or a planed board or something that I can reference these off of, because as you can tell, that weathered plywood on top of this table that I'm using, it sits out all year round. It's not going to be flat, and that's not a good indicator as to whether it will sit flat on, like, a piece of furniture in someone's house or whatnot. So once again, I'm just kind of touching up and hitting every one of these angles that I put into this piece of wood with the bandsaw. And I'm just trying to get mainly the kerfing out of the cut, so the bandsaw blade marks from the kerfing. And I am also trying to refine. So like maybe when I cut through with the bandsaw blade, it wasn't quite as straight as I wanted it to be, or it chattered a little bit because I cut at all kinds of weird angles against the grain and through knots and whatnot, and that all can have potential for kind of screwing it up a little bit as far as a clean bandsaw cut. So I'm going through all these with that, and I'm just trying to make them, better. As you saw there, I added with that radius on the belt sander, that radius area, I added some textures, put some dimples, I guess, or radius grooves in the edges, and now that's a flat spot, it's an angled spot, but instead of making that a flat bevel across, I'm actually giving it a radius toward the center around that heart rot, because this piece of silver poplar has heart rot in it. The wood around the heart rot was pretty solid. It was just that heart rot itself that created a hole inside the sculpture in the center. So once again, just maneuvering around it, trying to get every edge, trying to get all the really, really rough cut lines and stuff out of it. Now, once again, this is 80 grit sandpaper on this belt sander, so this is not a final sand at all. This isn't even the final contour and finish of the piece. Once I get out the orbital sander and start back with 80 grit and go all the way up to, I don't know what I'll finish this one with. Sometimes I'll finish them with 220. Sometimes I go up all the way to 400. Depends on what I'm doing. I have finished some stuff up with 2000, which we can debate another time, but some people are like, oh, that's just ridiculous, and I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, so it just depends on the piece, what I want it to look like, what I want to do with it. Sometimes I tool finish them and burnish them. It just depends. This one I haven't finished yet, actually. It's still sitting on the shelf to be finished, so that's why I don't have a finished photo of it or video of it in this video, but it will be coming, so keep an eye out for that. Now I'm just creating a sculptured and radiused, cinch around the whole of the vase itself, where stems and things. This is a dry stem vase, not intended to hold liquids at all. And some people call them twig pots or whatnot. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.